Who knew?
Traveling in Kentucky can be so much fun.
Hosted by Mary Engel and Justin Deaton. Special guest Tammy Pratt. Karen Carroll, innkeeper. Gary Carroll, innkeeper. Charlotte Dickinson, author. Jack Dickinson, builder. Welcome to the Grand Victorian Inn. Hi!
Hi, I'm Jack Dickinson, and I was the general contractor that superintended the reconstruction of this building and putting it back to life.
Oh, awesome. And you did a wonderful job, by the way. This is a gorgeous inn. If you've not been here, you need to come and see Jack's work because it is awesome. So how long did it take you to do the restorations on this building?
3.5 to 4 months for the phases that I was involved in, a little longer to complete the entire project due to some of the aspects that took longer to finish. But the main construction of the building completed in that period of time. We had a unique situation in that we had one door that was missing in the building, and then we discovered we had a door going between 2 rooms upstairs that was not going to be used. It absolutely fit with the right swing into the room where we had the door missing.
See, but only a talented man who knows construction could probably do that, because I might be able to take that door off and move it, but I don't know that I'd be able to get it to fit. Oh, I'd hate to see what it looked like when I got done.
When we started the project, we wanted to save everything that was here. So upstairs, there was a feature in the hallway that we removed. It was a plumbing fixture, and we removed it because it was something that was put into this home and actually used in the original hotel as a pitcher and bowl situation because they didn't have running water in the building. And then when running water came into the building, they turned it into 2 sinks with a small shelf above to put your shaving equipment on and a mirror above that to watch yourself shave. That's where the men came and did that because there was no other place to do it.
Yeah, I actually know the area he's talking about upstairs here. And it kind of reminds you of the old barbershop.
Yes, it does.
Thing. And it looked, I mean, it is awesome. It's one of the relics here that I kind of personally like the best, actually, because it reminds me of the old-time barbershops. So, you've done a good job there.
The structures that are there were done by the Standard Plumbing Company before American Standard joined together as one company. So that's by itself a unique antique to have. Also, when we got into the building, we found that there had been a boys' room bathroom added upstairs. And when they did that, they just put a single shiplap board standing up from one wall to from the inside wall to the outside wall and boarded off a small area. It's the only wall we removed because it was an added wall. Everything else was left the way it was. All the doors are positioned where they were. All the walls are the way they were. All we did was add a bathroom to each unit.
So you really preserved history here.
Yes, we did.
You did. And this is something that people can enjoy for years to come. I mean, really. Welcome to the Grand Victorian Inn, located at 5 Old Dixie Highway in Park City, Kentucky, next to the Mammoth Cave. The Grand Victorian Inn is surrounded by beautiful countryside just off the beaten path. A hidden jewel well worth your time and effort to find. This bed and breakfast is a must-stay if you are visiting the area. This once dilapidated hotel has been restored to its former glory with attention paid to every detail, from the bike and hike trail to the Mammoth Railway Cafe. Join us as we go inside for a tour of the Grand Victorian Inn.
Hello folks, we are now in the Mammoth Railroad Cafe. This is where you come and eat your breakfast. You also have the option of dining here for lunch and dinner, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And when you come, we hope you partake in the lunch or the dinner or both. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Hi, Miss Mary, how are you?
I'm all right. With me tonight is Tammy Pratt. We are here in Park City, right outside of Glasgow, Kentucky, next to the Mammoth Cave. That's pretty awesome.
And Diamond Caverns.
Yes, which I hear is a rare find here in Park City. You definitely do not want to miss the Victorian Inn because this is one awesome bed and breakfast. I understand it was vacant at one point, and before Karen and Gary purchased this building. So it is part of the historical history here in Park City. The Mammoth Cave is out only, 7 miles away? We have to talk about it.
The Mammoth Cave Park is actually a mile from the Victorian Inn. Then when you get to the state park there, it only takes you another 7 miles to get to the Mammoth Cave.
Which is awesome. Okay, we are in the Sweet Joy room here at the Victorian Inn, and it's a very nicely appointed room. You have the bathroom and the sink separate from the actual bedroom quarters with a special sitting area. As you can see here, it's nicely appointed with Victorian furniture, and this is the reason for the name Victorian Inn. Now, Tammy, have you ever stayed in a bed and breakfast before?
Yes, I stayed in one in Sonoya, Georgia.
Okay. And what did you find appealing about a bed and breakfast?
To me, a bed and breakfast is more like a home environment, and the one we stayed in Sonoya was older home, and we also met a couple that was staying there who was very friendly, and we got to enjoy their company the whole next day. So to me, it is more of a intimate setting to where you can meet other couples or other people who are visiting at the same time you are, and you may find that you form lasting friendships, as we did when we went to Sonoya. So to me, that's more, I mean, I know that you meet people in hotels or motels, but it's mainly just to say hi, or in passing. You don't get to actually sit down in a sitting area and talk to each other and converse and find out where you're from, and if you have likes and dislikes that are very similar to each other, and go from there.
Yeah, I really like the bed and breakfast. I like meeting the innkeepers, people who actually own the bed and breakfast. I have formed long-lasting relationships with some of the people who own the bed and breakfast, and it's really nice to go back, because when you go back, they treat you just like family. So, my advice is if you really want to stay in a place that offers you the comforts of home, then you need to find a bed and breakfast that you'd like to go to. And I couldn't suggest a better one to you than this old Victorian Inn right here that has been restored and nicely appointed, and you will not find better host.
The Joy Room, well, it was named after a lady named Joy Lyons. Joy Lyons was very much loved by people in Mammoth Cave National Park because she was very involved with Mammoth Cave National Park. Well, about the time that we ended up getting the Men's Hotel, which is now the Grand Victorian Inn, Joy Lyons unfortunately passed away, and I unfortunately was never able to meet her. But we heard such nice things about her, we decided to name the room after her. guest came in one time and she looked at the bed and she says, "Wow, what kind of bed is this? What would you call this?" I said, "This is a half-teaster canopy bed." And she thought I said keister. I said, "No, not keister, teaster."
Join us as we take a tour upstairs of the Grand Victorian Inn.
Alright, just to explain to you a little bit about this room. This is a typical room that would have been in this building. This building was built in 1885. It was originally built as a hotel. But then you've got to remember it was a hotel owned by 3 different families from 1885. Then it became a boys' school. So each one of these rooms, when we renovated the building, some of the rooms had wallpaper. Some of the rooms had wallpaper of cowboys and Indians or different things that children would have enjoyed back in the day. So we had to remove all the wallpaper, obviously. And alright, this is room number 9. It's an end room. It has a lot of windows in it. For some reason, it's probably, for upstairs, my #1 rented room. People like room number 9 for some reason. It's really not a lot of difference between room number 9 and room number 5. They both have lots of windows.
Here are just a few of the other rooms that the Grand Victorian has to offer you. You have 11 rooms to choose from, which are nicely appointed. The Suite Joy is a honeymoon suite. It has its own private bedroom with an ensuite. The upstairs rooms are just as nicely appointed and roomy, each having their own private bathroom. We encourage you to stop by the Grand Victorian Inn.
Can you explain to me how you come up with the name of Grand Victorian for your inn?
The Grand Victorian Inn was a God-given name 23 years ago. And I actually had my email address the entire time, grandvictorianinn@msn.com. So we had the name, we had a vision for it. It looked just like this in the vision on the exterior. And we named our cafe Mammoth Railway Cafe because of the Mammoth Park, which is just a mile away. And people come to our region, and we're in cave country.
Okay, could you tell me what in this area attracts people and travelers to your little town?
Actually, we chose Glasgow, Kentucky, and now Park City, Kentucky, because of the Mammoth Cave National Park. It's a draw to the area. The caves are open year-round, so you have a 52-degree weather. If you're freezing your hiney off somewhere in the winter, you can come and it's going to be 52 and feel warm. In the summer when it's hot, 52 feels cool, so it's good year-round. There are all kinds of caves. We're in cave country. There's the Diamond Cavern, there's Hidden River Cave, Lost River Cave, Crystal Onyx Cave, Mammoth, there's another cave over in at the Kentucky Down Under. Everybody has caves, and they show them off, and they're beautiful caves. So it's great to go, spend some time here and go to caves. You can probably catch a couple caves a day, and there's some nightlife in Glasgow at Rib Liquors.
Do you have riding stables as well in your area?
We do have riding stables. It's called Jesse James Riding Stables. There's also riding stables about 20 miles away at the Barren River Lake State Park. And there's also a lake there. There's also Nolan Lake, and we have Green River right here in our area. So they do Green River canoeing or kayaking, and a lot of people go down the river for that. We've done that pretty much every year. We try and do that, go down the river on a canoe. That's a tradition around Father's Day usually. So.
Who does the paddling?
We both do. I did have to teach Gary how to canoe. He had never done that, but I'm an old Girl Scout, so I do that.
Do you ever have any family reunions come in? I see Bell Tower has a big picnic shelter area.
Okay, we do. That's a good point. They do have a little pavilion over there where they can have family reunions. We do have family reunions here, and they're welcome to use the restaurant. And we have a group coming in, 3 of them scheduled right now, but we've had them in the past already, even though we've only been open a year and a half. And we've had churches rent a bunch of the rooms and have a pastor's meeting, a retreat where they get their year schedule together. So all kinds of reasons to come. Baby showers, anniversary parties, weddings. We've had several weddings here already.
Okay, do you sponsor corporate events of any kind or retreats?
Corporate events or retreats, either one. Corporate events could include, team building of going to the caves or kayaking or canoeing. And we have 11 decorated rooms here, individually decorated. And we also have 4 rooms at Hall Place Bed and Breakfast and 6 rooms at Main Street Bed and Breakfast. So we have 21 rooms that they could have their corporate event for. We can accommodate up to 55 in our dining room here. And Hall Place also has a dining room, so if they wanted to have 50 people there as well, they could.
Fantastic. So your other 2 are in Glasgow. So how far would that be from Glasgow to here?
Oh, okay. Good question. It's 12 miles away.
So that's not very far.
No, it takes about 15 minutes or so.
Is there any more history in this area that you could share with us about what makes this area so unique?
Oh, good question. So in the area here, they've been going to Mammoth Cave for 201 years. They used to lodge at the Bell's Tavern right next door, and for 200 years. So in Civil War times, they had Union soldiers lodge there, Confederate soldiers lodge there. They were known for some brandy. So another group of Confederate soldiers came in, had too much to drink, got mad at the proprietors and burnt the place down. Our foundation is created from those rocks at the Bell's Tavern. So we have a little piece of history here. They would get off the train right here at the train station in front of us and go to Mammoth Cave for all those years. Mr. Mentz had that torn down, and he actually, right here, would sell his railway tickets. And we're going to recreate that building on our slab over here that used to be the carriage house. So we have a lot of future plans again.
And I noticed that here at the Grand Victorian Inn, you actually have a dining or a cafe. So people are welcome to come in the general area and kind of look around and see some of the antiques that you have here, which is awesome. I mean, if you're an antique lover, this is the place to come, okay? You want to come here because they have some fabulous antiques here. And I guess that's another reason I would think that it would be called the Grand Victorian Inn, because of all the Victorian style furniture. So, I mean, it's awesome.
I've loved antiques forever. When I was growing up, my mom had magazines and I always picked out the old stuff. So I love to decorate. I'm the decorator. We do have where you can eat here, but there are local restaurants. There's a couple little ones here in town, but there's bigger ones in Cave City, 5 miles away. And in Glasgow, there's all kinds of restaurants that are really good. and that's just 12 miles away. So
Give us a little history on Glasgow, actually,
Oh,
because
okay.
the history of Glasgow is very interesting, and you do have 2 other bed and breakfasts there, which are very nicely appointed. They're as nicely appointed as this particular bed and breakfast, and because we have stayed. I've known Karen for probably about 6 years now, I think. So we've stayed at her other 2 bed and breakfasts, and we were lucky enough to stay here last night. So tell me a little bit about what Glasgow's history is.
Okay, so Glasgow is centrally located between Louisville and Nashville. So it was a natural stopping spot forever. And the town is a bigger town compared to the small towns around. This town is a little over 500 people. Glasgow has 17,000 people. And the county has 70,000 people. So it's not tiny, so where people think, oh, I'm going to this little nothing. It is a very nice town. There's a lot of antique stores in Glasgow, a lot of great restaurants in Glasgow, and the town is growing proactively. It was voted the #1 place to live in rural America. We're included in that because it was Barron County. We're in Barron County. And it's also, Glasgow's been the top 100 cities for youth for the last 3 years in a row. So I've been calling it Whoville for about 5 years now. Everybody's doing good things. It's the people are precious, and we're not moving away. We're staying here. This is our home now. We love the people and we love the area.
Now tell me a little bit about Hall's Bed and Breakfast, because it has a very interesting past. And I think people would really be interested in that particular past.
Okay, Hall Place Bed and Breakfast was built 1852, and it was built for Dr. James Hall and his wife Theodosia. Her father taught Abraham Lincoln law, and Abraham Lincoln came to their housewarming. I found out 4.5 years later when we did Main Street Bed and Breakfast that he was their cousin. His cousin married her cousin, which was his law partner, Stephen Logan, and they lived at the Main Street Bed and Breakfast house, so he also went there. He actually asked them to come to Illinois to be his law partner, so that's why Stephen Logan moved to Illinois. He also asked him to be his running mate, vice president, when he ran for president, but he decided not to. So anyway, Hall Place Bed and Breakfast also has an Underground Railroad in it. It also was Union headquartered during the Civil War. They had Union shoulders. There's boot marks in the ground. In the wood floors from the boots. They had a horseshoe on their heel, and the little brads would leave little dent marks in the wood. And we have quite a few other older homes, and none of them have that. Just 3 blocks away was Confederate headquarters. It had the main chute of escape route for the Underground Railroad and the cave system. It went clear up to Cave City. So that house became Confederate headquarters for Glasgow. So they were just 3 blocks away from each other. So it was, everybody was fighting against each other, even though they knew each other, and cousins and whatnot. So our state had a lot of history right in that area. John Hunt Morgan had 2 of his first rays came through Glasgow. So there was history. Jesse James came through Glasgow. He was going to rob our bank. He had just robbed Columbia's bank, and the guys were going hunting that day. They walked out with their shotguns just as he came up, and he said, "They must have heard we robbed Columbia. Keep going." So they came into Cave City and robbed it. We do have a stagecoach that used to be lodged on our slab over here that we're going to create a train station house, but that was a carriage house, and that stagecoach they just refurbished this last year, and they're looking for a home for it, so we're hoping they put it in our new building. But anyway, Jesse James robbed that stagecoach, and he took one of my tea room guests. We have a tea room at Hall Place. He took a tea room guest's grandfather's pocket watch. So that was their claim to fame.
And if you are a Civil War buff, okay, and you're doing the Civil War thing in the state of Kentucky, Hall's Bed and Breakfast is definitely the place to stop for the night. I mean, seriously. I was very impressed with the history. Being a history buff myself, so I was very impressed with the history there.
They also had, in 1919 and 1933 at Hall Place, because again, it was a natural stopping spot. And then the current Hall Place Bed and Breakfast started in 1989, but it still has a brand new feel because it was all new electric and plumbing and heating and cooling. Same with this building. So that's good to know that you have heating and cooling. A lot of people are like, "Do you have air conditioner in the summer?" Yes, we do.
And if it goes out, you can always go to the Mammoth Cave or one of the hidden caves because they're always 52 degrees.
That's hilarious.
They actually do have those, some night tour caves.
Yes,
or
they
cave,
do. Lantern tour.
Lantern tour.
Highly recommend, speaking of which, that's a good point to bring up. They recommend you book in advance. Some of those tours fill up months in advance. So if you want to go on a lantern tour and plan your vacation, definitely book in advance for that lantern tour. And a lot of the other tours do fill up. They only have, as the federals keeps cutting the money, they keep cutting the tours back. Even though people have been going there for over 200 years, the funding is the key to success.
Exactly. And one of the things that I find interesting is, like, let's say you're middle-aged or a little older, kids are gone from home. This is the time to come is in the winter months because it's down, but the caves are still open and available to use. I mean, and you have still a lot of activities in the area. So couples, this is the time to travel, okay? Just like, cruising is like in the fall because the prices are cheaper. It's not that it's any cheaper, but you don't have the big crowds. So if you want to come and enjoy yourself and do a relaxing tour, that's what you want to do. Now, when I go to the Mammoth Cave, and I've been several times, because I love the caving system, the historical tour is one of my favorites, okay? I've never done the lantern tour, but I think I would like to, even in the historical part, when they take you into what they call the snowball room, which is their dining area. You can go in and they'll tell you all about the crystals that have formed on the rooftops there. And when you go in, they will also take you to an area that they turn out the lights. Everything. So you can't see anything, okay? Literally, you can't see anything.
I'm always like, turn them back on. I know, we can't see anything.
And another one of the tours that they offer there, that's kind of one of my favorites, is the half-a-day tour. I really like to go into the cave and stay a long time. And I understand the hidden caverns and the diamond caverns are some of the jewels that a lot of people don't go and visit when they're here.
And they are jewels. Diamond Cavern is my favorite cave in the area. Not that Mammoth isn't good, but Diamond is just my favorite. But there are a lot of good caves and a lot of good tours.
Why is Diamond Cave your favorite?
It has every formation. Oh, it's just fabulous. I've been in it so many times, and every time I'm like, I forgot how beautiful this cave is. It just has all these stalactites, stalagmites, and all the history of the area. And it's been open for many, many years.
Karen, can you tell me a little bit about the bike trails here?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. So we are the Bike and Hike Trailhead. This used to be Mammoth Cave Avenue, and they've cut it off 6 years ago and made it the Bike and Hike Trailhead to Mammoth Cave. The trails are all around here. We're connecting. We have a trail town in Park City now. And we've just recently got funding, so it's going to get better. We are hooking up with Munfordville, so they'll have a big long ride of 30 to 50 mile trail ride, which bikers like to ride longer distances. They're not into the short thing. So they can ride their bikes to Mammoth Cave, and the reason they call it Bike and Hike is because there's one big hill. So they got to hike up that one hill and or know how to use their gears just perfectly, which most of them say, oh, if I would have done this and that, but I did have to walk up that hill. But if you don't want to do the hills, there is a parking area up there so they can take their bike and park up there. Give me a little history about some of the museums that are here in the area. Oh, we have beautiful museums here. One of them that's nationally famous is the National Corvette Museum. People come here from all over the world to see this Corvette museum and factory. All the Corvettes are born in Bowling Green, just 25 miles away. And it's just straight up the freeway from us here. Actually, it's 20 miles. But anyway, we have, Corvettes are born. They are babies. And so when you see a Corvette, whether it be in another country or in Hawaii, they were born right here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And
the fact that a lot of us are really proud of.
And it's fabulous. I've been to many museums. It is the best museum I've ever been to. And I've been to museums all over the United States. I'm a museum person, and ours is the best, I have to admit.
Folks, we sure hope you enjoyed the Grand Victorian Inn as much as we did. We encourage you to visit the Mammoth Cave and the Grand Victorian Inn. There are plenty of hidden caves, bike trails, hiking trails, canoeing, plenty for you to do take a weekend, enjoy a weekend out, or just take a week and enjoy a full vacation, because I'm sure you'll find plenty to do here at the Grand Victorian Inn and the Mammoth Cave. Until next time, please share, like, and comment. And this is a wrap